The Fed15 podcast is presented by Serving Those Who Serve, a financial planning practice serving federal government employees and retirees all over the country. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be taken as financial advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. The opinions expressed by our hosts are their own and do not reflect the views, policies, or position of either Raymond James or Serving Those Who Serve. Securities are offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services are offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. Serving Those Who Serve is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services, Inc. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Fed15 podcast presented by Serving Those Who Serve. Each week, we'll discuss the latest news and info that feds need to know in 15 minutes or less. Sometimes, most times, a little bit more. So whether you are a seasoned federal employee or whether you're just starting out in your career, Fed15 has got you covered. Grab your coffee, kick back, and we will tell you what you need to know but might have missed in the federal space during the week. We're your hosts. I am Katelyn Murray, and I am joined by the festive, as always, Mr. Dan Sipe. He's got a new one on for us today, and I know he's just bursting at the seams with the Christmas story to share it with us.
Indeed. And Katelyn, I also am happy to say this one's for you. Well, it's for all of our listeners because I love all my feds.
Okay.
But this one's for you, and I think you'll appreciate it. Okay. So are you ready?
Oh, Star Wars Christmas is always the best. Boba, it's cold outside. Boba Fett, Vader, and is that a stormtrooper? Or is that
that's stormtrooper in the middle? Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Love it.
Yep.
Love it. I love a Star Wars Christmas moment.
I find your lack of cheer disturbing.
So a client who shall remain unnamed actually turned up to our planning meeting.
I saw that
earlier this week in a Christmas sweater, a Star Wars Christmas sweater. I love it.
Yes. No.
Big points.
Yes. 100%. No downside.
Yeah.
You know, there you cannot Yule too much.
For sure.
You know me. I always wanted to be Fezziwig. You know, coolest guy ever. You know, that's it. Come on, Ebenezer. Come on, Dick. Let's go. Push everything away. Let's have a big party. So
love it. Very fun. Very fun.
But I don't want to get too far down the road because I know we are here to bring gifts of information to our feds. So
and we've got some good ones this week. We're going to look at. I think this will be actually a really popular episode because we're going to focus on saving money. So we talk a lot about money on this show, and most of it pertains to long-term money, investing, savings, yada, 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 all that stuff. But this week, Dan is actually going to kick us off. I'm going to talk about some of that later. Don't worry. We've got that for you. I'm going to talk about college costs and balancing saving for college and saving for retirement and all the things we have to save for. But Dan is going to talk to you guys about some discounts that you have when it comes to spending money.
Yes, just in time for the holidays.
Yeah.
Folks, one of the things that sometimes gets lost is you work for a giant organization. Okay. And in a free market system, okay, giant organizations get attention. And here's a place where that attention can be a cool perk for you as a Fed, but only if you know about it. So there are a lot of discounts and deals and things like that are out there for you. So we're going to give you a little bit of a primer here for where you should be going and looking, because we're talking about discounts on electronics, travel, dining, and these are things that you might be doing anyway. So why not save a few dollars?
Yeah.
So in the devices, software, and tech front, there's a variety of discounts from Apple, Dell, Microsoft, Samsung, and wireless plans from AT&T and T-Mobile. If you're working with those people, inquire about the discounts that go along with you being on Uncle's team. There are breaks for you. In the software front, cashback available on platforms like TurboTax and QuickBooks. And anybody who's been working with me for a long time knows that I'm a Quicken fan. As I say, it takes a weekend to set it up, takes it 6 months to get it the way you like it, and then it's life changing. So huge. And this can boost productivity, and you can end up managing your resources even better and getting a discount to go along with it. Travel and transportation, hands down my favorite to talk about. You all get special rates with JetBlue and Southwest. So if you're dreaming of that little early winter getaway, if you are above the Mason-Dixon line where we all know it gets a little chilly, you've got that. But also once you land, you've got discounts from Hertz and Enterprise. And where you're staying, Hilton and Marriott, they love you guys. They got breaks for you. So, and this can apply to both business and personal trips, but there's also cashback deals on sports, theme parks, movies. They are out there. And here's the thing, I'm going to be responsible a little bit too. Money that you save can be flowing towards retirement planning so that you have a great retirement. But getting back to the fun stuff, Reebok, Ray-Ban, Blue Nile are ready to give you some discounts. Costco and Sam's Club will give you a break on their membership. So
we need that.
Here's the stuff to write down. Use sites like ID Me, I like I, D like dog, .me, like I'm me, you're you, and govx.com to find the latest deals on travel and retail. And Katelyn, I think we're going to make this a regular, right? We're going to pop this up and remind people.
Yeah.
Because, you come to us and we know it. You're coming to us to get the stuff that goes along with you're eating your vegetables. You're learning about your benefits, things like that. So you know what? I'm getting in practice for being a good granddad. So you finish those Brussels sprouts, by golly, I'm going to slide an Oreo into your hand. Okay, when nobody's looking. So think of it this way. This is Uncle Dan making sure that you get that cookie to go along with all the good stuff. So stay updated though with those places because they're always changing. They're always improving, and be aggressive. Track those deals and adopt that savings mindset. Remember, I'm not telling you not to enjoy your life. Okay. Don't pay retail. Okay. That's one of the big things that I've never had to worry about because Miss Mary doesn't pay retail for anything. I'm pretty sure she negotiated with my parents to get me for 25% off. So explore those perks, know where they fit in, and don't forget us. Okay, we can be your trusted partner to walk this path towards retirement planning, and we're not going to forget that you do want to live a little bit right now. And we're going to keep reminding you that you've got these perks out there. So Katelyn, you're going to be talking to our folks about that special balancing act of, looking after yourself for retirement and making sure you launch your kids properly. I'll just throw one thought out that I have espoused throughout my entire planning career. Okay. Yes, we all want to make sure we launch our kids, but don't be so obsessed with launching them that they become your retirement plan. Their success in moving in with them is your retirement plan. So, Katelyn, take it away on that one.
For sure, Dan, and that's very kind of intuitive. That is very much the kind of scope and baseline here for this article. Working with feds of all ages, obviously, college planning is a huge part of what we do. And trying to strike that balance between saving for your own future, saving for your retirement, and saving for college can be difficult. Sometimes kind of in that mid-year or mid-career crunch, you can kind of feel like, I'm saving towards all these different kind of buckets. The biggest thing is you want to start with assessing your own retirement needs. Mm-hmm. So figuring out what are our goals around retirement, what do we want to fund, right? Because if you don't know kind of what your own target is with retirement, I think knowing when you're facing any kind of obstacle, knowing your enemy or knowing your challenger is really important, right? So if I just have this amorphous sense that I need to save a ton of money for retirement and have not really triangulated how much do I want to spend in retirement? How much do I need to save in order to to hit that point, right? So, and the way that you kind of get to those answers and the way that you can kind of draw down to that kind of specificity is with a retirement plan, with a financial plan. The best financial plan is going to be able to show you retirement and also factor in college. And obviously that's part of the planning that we do here at Serving Those Who Serve. We help people kind of figure out those different buckets and create a comprehensive plan that includes both of those buckets. Plus other things, travel budgets, the fun stuff, right? The Oreos of life. So you want to assess your own retirement needs. You want to figure out, kind of what you need. And that really does need to be the priority because we all want to help our kids with college. I get it. I understand. But if you were to ask your children, would you rather me pay for college and then live in your basement for the rest of my life? Or would you rather me be self-sufficient in retirement and you have to take on some of the responsibility for college funding? I think they will tell you they would rather, you be independent and self-sufficient. So it's one of those things. I liken it to when you're on the airplane and they tell you, make sure you put your mask on before assisting others. It is exactly that, folks. Put your mask on before assisting others. That's going to give you more choices, more flexibility, more opportunity to help your kids potentially later on. Maybe right now is not the time. Maybe later on, you're going to be able to help them more. So once you've assessed your own retirement needs, then you want to, again, know your challenger. Figure out what you need for college savings. So you want to figure out what that target is. A 4-year undergraduate education in the United States averages, now this varies state to state and it varies public versus private, but it averages $38,270 per year. That includes tuition, fees, living expenses, supplies for school. Those textbooks are expensive. Buy those secondhand. And costs definitely, those costs are going to vary by the location and by school type. I will also say factor in inflation, right? So as of right now, we're recording this in December 2024, a 4-year undergraduate education averages $38,270 per year. When we run college projections for clients, we use a 5% inflation rate because that is a reasonable rate for inflation of college costs. College costs do rise faster typically than the cost of bread, milk, or eggs. So you need to factor in inflation. If you're looking at a kid who's 3 or 4, that 38,000 number is going to look different by the time they're 18 and starting college. The biggest advice I can give you, start early. Start early. If you don't have kids now and you think you might want to have kids or you have kids in your family, it's not a bad idea to open up a brokerage account and start putting money away. That way the money's there if and when you do have children or if and when you do have, somebody you want to fund college for. You can go ahead and move that into a 529 or some other type of tax advantaged account to make that happen. But start early. If you don't have the option to start early, start now, right? That's the backup plan, the plan B. I also encourage open conversations around college goals with your child. They need to know that this is expensive. They need to know that this is a significant investment that the family is making in their well-being. And you also need to decide how that investment is going to be made. Right? I am a big fan. Obviously, first and foremost, you want to look at scholarships, you want to look at grants, anything that you can apply for there. And I encourage you to, if you've got kids who are sophomores in high school, have them start looking at some of these scholarship programs. I know they can't apply for them yet, but have them start a running list of those websites so that when the applications do get renewed, they know what they're going to apply for. They have a plan for the essays that they're going to write and whatever the application requirements are. So really, really encourage starting that way early because if you start it when you're a senior, it can easily become overwhelming. And then we start dropping the amount of scholarships we're applying for, right? So go in with a plan. The other thing is don't forget about loans. Student loans exist for a reason. I am a fan. I'll say, everybody approaches this differently. I'm a fan of encouraging kids to take out some sort of student loan, some amount on a student loan. I think it encourages them to have skin in the game. I think it makes that whole message around this is a significant investment that the family is making in your future. It makes that message more real because they are also making that investment. Now, here's the thing about student loans. The child takes it out. It's helpful for their credit, right? It's helpful for encouraging them to have skin in the game. there's nothing that says that you can't help that child then pay that loan off, right? So if you're, if you have the perspective of, I want to fully fund my child's education, you can absolutely do that. And you can also absolutely leverage student loans to make it happen. And you're going to improve your child's credit in the meantime. Just be sure to be mindful of that $19,000 annual going into 2025 gifting limitation. Okay. You can gift more than that in a given year, but then you've got to file a gift tax return. There's a lot of red tape that comes along with it. However, if you keep your gifts to that child as far as paying that loan back under $19,000, you don't have to report it. So don't immediately disavow and cut out the concept of loans, even if you are planning on fully paying for your child's education, because I think they can be a good motivator and they can also buy you more time to get the funds that you need to help. So couple different ways that you can save. I mentioned 529 plans earlier. These are great accounts depending on the state that you are in for tax advantage savings. Not every state allows or gives you a tax deduction on your state income tax for contributions to a 529. Maryland and Virginia both do. So if you are listening from the DMV, a 529 plan could be a good option for you for college funding. Coverdell ESAs. These are slightly older accounts. They're not used as much. They are tax advantaged. However, your contributions there are limited to $2,000 per year. And your eligibility is tied to your modified adjusted gross income. So these accounts, by and large, are a little bit dinosaurs of the financial planning industry. You will still see them mentioned in articles on college funding. We want you to be aware that they exist. They likely are not the best option. Roth IRAs. I will mention this as well because this is something you see kicked around in a lot of college funding articles if you're doing independent research. Roth IRAs are primarily for retirement. I will say that again. Roth IRAs are primarily for retirement. The value of tax-free growth in a Roth IRA over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, depending on how old you are, is going to massively dwarf whatever benefit you would get by not having to take a loan to pay for college, okay? In most cases, especially if your student is the one taking out that loan because they're going to receive preferential interest rates. While this is something that you can possibly do, it comes down, it's that Jeff Goldblum quote from Jurassic Park. You spend so much time thinking about whether you can do it, you didn't stop to question whether you should. And in our opinion, for most people, a Roth IRA should not be looked at as a college funding account. You are giving up, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face, and you're giving up years of tax-free growth. There are better ways to structure things. So if you're considering doing that, I would recommend speaking with a professional before you pull the trigger on that, okay? Got to mention the FAFSA. Obviously, if your child's a little bit older and they're starting to apply to universities, you want to make sure they complete the FAFSA. Even if you think you have no shot at any kind of financial aid for college, complete the FAFSA. Just do it. Just complete it. Always complete it. You never know. And you want to make sure you have that in place. So the big takeaway here is this is a balancing act, right? You want to balance contributing to your TSP, contributing to your own Roth IRA, contributing to your child's college funding accounts in order to meet kind of both goals. You want to make sure that you're leveraging everything that's available to you, tax-free growth in 529s, state tax deductions if your state offers that in a 529, and also leveraging student loans. This is kind of a multi-factor approach. Always going to recommend talking with a professional. It can be difficult to kind of do this balancing act of all these different goals. Speak with somebody who can kind of help guide you through that. The team here at Serving Those Who Serve is always happy to help. We are well versed in all of these different tools and happy to craft a financial plan that really addresses all of your goals, not just narrowly that retirement goal.
Absolutely. And as our Director of Tax and Investment Policy, Tom Lee, always says, there are loans for education. There are not classes of loans for retirement.
Yep. Yes.
So keep that in mind. There's a reason for that.
Exactly.
And folks, that's all the time we have for today. But don't worry, we will be back again next week to bring the latest updates you need to know, make informed decisions about your career and financial well-being as a Fed.
Absolutely. And so that you don't miss that episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode, and be sure to share it with your friends and colleagues. Sharing is caring, folks, especially in the holiday season.
This is the season. 'Tis the season. And for more information about the topics covered today and more, be sure to check out our blog. That's blog.stwserve.com, and subscribe to the newsletter, Weekly Serving. Then we'll just ship all the great stuff to you every single week. You don't even have to go look.
And for those who want to dive even deeper into learning about your federal benefits and financial planning for feds, if you are ready for a deep dive, we encourage you to join us for one of our complimentary webinars. We've got some great ones coming up for you here in January. I know, the holiday season is busy. Maybe you are feeling disconnected from your finances, from your financial planning. January is a great time to recenter, refocus, and get clued in. So coming up for you on January 7th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we've got our FERS webinar, and then we've got a tax planning webinar later that week, January 9th, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So mark your calendars, folks. Those are really good webinars. That FERS webinar in particular is a great one to start with if you are new to learning about your federal benefits. It's a good jumping off place. So, of course, if you prefer a one-on-one approach, we can absolutely help with that. If you're looking at all of this, you've maybe started learning about your benefits and you feel like you need a partner to help you manage these things and help kind of get your financial house in order, feel free to reach out to our team directly for a financial planning consultation at askstws@stwserve.com. You can find us there.
Absolutely. You'll be happy you did. See what it
there it is.
See what it did. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening to Fed15. I'm Dan Sight.
And I'm Katelyn Murray.
And we will see you next week.
See you there.